There you go, out of the van. Didn't lift it, didn't use my back. All right, exciting day in the shop today. We are gonna start making some serious progress just visually on this CX500 Scrambler. You can see I have it completely torn apart. And since the last time we checked in with this thing, I have all of the parts back from Powdercoat. So now it's time to do chassis assembly on it, and that is always super fun, super exciting. It's time consuming, but this is when you really start to see how it's taken shape and what the final form is going to be and all the work that you've been doing. So I'm going to flip the camera around and then I will take you through kind of everything that we are looking at here and what needs to be done and go through the process, that kind of thing. So let's dive in. All right, now you saw I grabbed the engine from the warehouse and unloaded it. So it's on here, ready to go. I have it facing the right way so we can put the front wheel in the chalk and then start building from there. But this thing, as you know in previous episodes, we went through it, carbs are done, the engine's ready to go, other than maybe probably painting the valve covers, so I have to make a decision on that. But up front here, I need to go ahead and start cleaning my fan motor and the fan blade itself. We'll get that assembled, get it put in there, and then once we're ready for the frame, then that will all get like kind of bolted together at once. So down here I have my triples, upper and lower. I have new bushings for the headlight there. I'm going to reuse the handlebar riser bushings. And then we have our lower stem. I have some tapered bearings for that. So those are over there on the table, and then we will put those in before the frame goes on. Down here I just have miscellaneous stuff that's been powder coated, so headlight bracket, rear turn signal bracket. This is part of the crash bar setup, the intermediate bar that goes in the middle. Exhaust hanger, foot peg mounts. Running back here, I have my my gauge mount. This is the top handlebar clamp. Fuse box cover. We're not using the fuse boxes. We're mounting a couple switches. Kickstand, license plate mount, shifter, and then this is kind of the fly screen mount. Not kind of, it is the fly screen mount. So the radiator, we will still repaint on this thing. I got to clean it up. It may not actually need painting. It's just dusty. So we might get away with just being able to put that on without any major work. Down here, of course, it's going to be really hard to see, I apologize, but you can imagine we have the frame right here. It's been powder coated, of course, and I have to go through and just work on cleaning up all the little edges and things like that. That's just normal stuff for powder coat. And then touch up any little spots they missed. So that's going to be a job. It's going to be a pretty time-consuming part of today. Wheels and tires are over there, you've seen. Coming over here, got my fork boots. I have like my differential spline, so that's like your final drive splines right there. I need to clean that up, de-rust them. Actually, I should put that in some solution right now. Frame mounting hardware, I need to clean that up along with the fork hardware. Drive shaft, need to clean that thing up. The handlebar risers, I gotta go ahead and repaint those. And then over on the table, you see we've got the forks disassembled. So I have the legs painted, so these are looking really good. Did some 2K clear on those, they're nice and tough. You're noticing a black theme here. I went with gloss black on the forks, gloss black on the frame and the swing arm, and then satin black basically on everything else. And I'm hoping to pull enough contrast in this thing with like your differential being the aluminum color, my brake drum over there is aluminum, the engine of course is aluminum. And then we'll try to maintain some more contrast throughout. But gonna go ahead and do the forks. I wanted to replace the legs on these because they are a little bit pitted. I have actually repaired both legs with a little bit of super glue where the worst pits were. I've made a video on that on a Buell that I did, and this actually works really good and it's still holding up. So I mean, it might visually look bad, but you can't even feel it. But within those forks, I'm also putting some progressive springs. So we'll mess with those. Of course, I have new bushings. All this came from CMSNL. I mentioned the fork boots. Drive shaft boot, gotta clean that up. That's all full of just like radiator fins, that kind of thing. Like I need to paint these. So yeah, we have a lot to do. This is all that kind of like piddly stuff that's gonna just start taking a long time, but my goal for today is at least to get the frame done and on the engine, get the forks assembled. And then by the weekend, it's Thursday right now, by the weekend we should have a roller And then we can work on doing like the final install stuff, getting it wired, that kind of thing. I'm gonna be pretty excited about that. So it's gonna start taking shape, but I'm going to go ahead and jump on the forks, start just kind of doing as much as I can. Probably just gonna end up throwing some music on, and you guys will just kind of work with me. Alright, here is where we are at. Forks are assembled. Took a little bit longer than expected because I ran out of fork fluid, so I had to go grab some more, and that's in the next town. But they're assembled, they're done, and they're just chilling. Swing arm is done, it's cleaned up. I've got it touched up where it needed to be touched up. Our bearing surfaces are clean. The frame, almost done. Just got to touch up one little spot back here where it's a little light on the powder coat. And then we'll go ahead and put in our steering bearings and flip this thing over and get it mounted on the engine. I've got some hardware in the ultrasonic cleaner. And I had forgot the actual swing arm bearings, so I got to get these in the solvent tank, get that cleaned up, and then we obviously cannot forget our coolant bottle. I'm going to put this on camera saying it because I know I'll forget it. And I'll put the frame on, get this whole bike assembled, and realize, damn it, I got to put the coolant bottle in because you can't get it in. So anyway, we're lined up for tomorrow really well. I'm going to prep a few pieces I mentioned earlier for paint, and then I will go ahead and knock all that out as we get this thing assembled. So we should be in good shape. We'll get the wheels, tires, forks, all that stuff on tomorrow. I know we wanted to get the frame on today, but we're in great shape for tomorrow. So we're knocking stuff off the list, and I'm pretty happy. Got to have this one piece powder coated. No sweat though. So I'm cleaning this thing up, and makes me think there's a meme that goes around, and it has a picture of one of these on there, and it's like, it looks brand new. It's like the method I used to get this thing looking new again, and I scrubbed it, I hit it with this chemical, I heated it with this thing, put it in this treatment for an hour, came back the next day, did it again, used this chemical on it, scrubbed it again with this, converted it to that, blah 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 blah, and after, you know, when I was done it looked the exact same, so I just bought a new one. Tempting. I've been finding that I'm using a lot more WD-40 lately, just as general cleaning, especially on plastic. Like that looks really good to me. That was just a quick brush with some WD-40, and then I got some denatured alcohol here, just kind of cleaning it off again. And it wasn't going to take much, but I don't know. It's like I'd used WD-40 as one thing my entire life, and then all of a sudden I just started using it as something different, and it's like a whole different thing. My eyes have been opened. Alright, we are back to a roller. This thing is looking awesome. So, for some of you, this might be the first video you've seen on the bike. So let me kind of recap some of the finer details of this build. So I have an 83 Honda FT500 front end on this. It's a 37mm versus 35. And then inside that we put progressive springs. So this is about 3 inches longer than a stock setup. So this is going to be a lot better for our purposes. Right now I have a 5-weight fluid in there. We're going to try to keep it light off-road, see how it does. We can always change it from there. Now going back to the front end, the forks and everything went on very easily, but the only thing I wanted to do was make sure I fit a Comstar to these. So I used the FT500 rotor, and then I made a slight 1/8 inch spacer ring behind the rotor to move it out, and then the stock CX500 or FT500 caliper fits that. And then we have a 19-inch Comstar wheel that matches the rear. Now, moving out back, the rear wheel gets exciting. This is actually using a Honda Goldwing rim and spoke section, and then that's the stock CX500 hub. And I did that to get a 17-inch out of this. So I've made a couple videos on the wheel itself. I've made videos on all this stuff, so you guys can go back and cruise through the playlist if you like. But 82 model CX500, so it has the TI ignition, so we have like a G8 style stator down there, so we have like the more modern ignition components on here, but it still does have the manual cam chain tensioners. So anyway, just had the frame powder coated, of course. I have some YSS shocks on the back of this thing, and I think they're from like an XT350 or something like that. I can't find dimensions to figure out what I need, so we'll see how these things perform. I know I can change the preload on them a whole lot, and then we'll see how how they stand up to the weight of this bike. Another cool thing on the bike, well, literally cool. So up here I'm using a Yamaha R1 radiator fan. This one's from like a 1998. I had a 98 R1 in the shop, and I was checking the fan out and decided I wanted to try one out. So nice, decent size, kind of like, I think it's 8.5 inch diameter. And then it doesn't have hardly any current draw to it, so it should be perfect for this bike. But we're making headway on this thing. The contrast of gloss and satin and then the aluminum color, I'm really digging. But yeah, I'm going to end it off here. If you guys like this bike, check out some other videos on the channel, full playlist of it. You can see everything I've done step by step until this point. But anyway, again, I hope you guys like this one, and hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.